if you are saying, I've always been interested in cancer epidemiology, I've done all these things, make sure you don't have a letter of recommendation that then says, I see this person as a leader in the field of HIV. Um, I actually think it's more important to have people who know you well and can write a detailed letter rather than a famous name who actually only interacted with you once and can't give a lot of detail. Certainly we see the famous names, but it's not that helpful to say, oh, I met them once at a meeting and they seemed nice. Someone who can really speak to the work that you've done, your intellectual thought process, your capability to do high level research and be a future leader. That's really important. And recommendation letters can be very diverse. I mean, we recognize that different people have different styles. We try to take that into account as we're reading letters.
Yeah.
Um, so but again, what's helpful from the committee's perspective is when the letters support an overall strong application. So we're already, actually, the letters, the way that it works at Johns Hopkins, when we see the application, the order that the application shows up in, the letters are the last thing we see. And so
Okay.
we've already seen, usually, if we read from top to bottom, which most people I think do, we start with sort of your basic demographic information, your name, your background, your schools. We go through sort of your training, your education, your grades, your personal statement, your CV, and then finally at the end are the letters of recommendation. And usually strong letters of recommendation, if we've been reading through and everything seems really strong up until that point, and then a letter of recommendation confirms what we've been reading in the rest of the
Yeah.
application, right?
hmm
It they all support what we've been hearing before then. So I would say, in terms of choosing people to write letters of recommendation, choose people who you think know you well enough and would be willing to write a strong letter. And you can ask them, would you be willing to write a strong letter of
hmm
recommendation for
Yeah.
me? And if someone says, then maybe just choose someone else, right? Focus on someone who you think can write a strong letter. Um, and make sure that that person knows sort of what you're applying for and how you are positioning yourself in the PhD application. Like you want the whole application to align, right?
Yes.
and
Yes.
um, and it's not a huge problem when they don't. Usually we just assume that the letter of recommendation person doesn't know you that well.